Hey YouTube, this is Robert Ness 816 and today we have something different from what I usually work on. So from what I know or have just been told is that this is a system that was made by Coleco that was designed to play Atari games and they got sued over it. So I thought it'd be a neat little system to make a video about. So the only thing I know about it, I don't know if it works or not. I've already got it apart obviously, so just to kind of show you what it looks like, but the power port on it is loose. So this system has the most robust RF shield ever. Like this is like a lead weight. Like you can actually use this as a weapon and like smack someone in the face with this thing. That's how much it would hurt. Um, yeah, pretty crazy. But anyways, so and look at how simple it is inside. There's like nothing inside of it. There's a giant ass capacitor here. There's your voltage regulator, some type of tuning pot for something. I don't know what. There's your RF module. This thing is like as basic as it gets. No idea what this is. Probably a processor, probably your image processor, maybe memory or something. Who knows? Yeah, so let's resolder this port here. That's quite loose, and let's see what happens. Something I noticed here is that this thing actually used what's known as wave soldering when it was made, and if my camera will focus. Basically, what wave soldering is when the entire board is submerged in solder, and the solder will then adhere to where it needs to stick to. And as you can see, there is literally no adhesion to the power socket here on this thing. So, not even enough solder to even do the job the right way from the factory. So I'm going to add some solder to it. Still got some flux on there, so that's good. And then obviously solder it on so that it stays. There you go. Good. So now the other two should go on fairly easily. And you can see how that flux works too. It actually makes the solder wet, is the term that they call it, so that the solder can actually flow to where it needs to and stick to what it needs to. Alright, so that's it. So hopefully that'll stay put for another, 30 years. So with this flux, I can just leave it on there. It's just regular rosin paste flux. So this basically forms a protective layer over the solder joint after it's done to protect it from corrosion or anything like that. And you can see that the few parts on here that are hand soldered actually do have the remnants of flux. So if I cover up that shield, you should be able to see that. Or not, but anyways, you see where the flux is originally. So, if they left it on there from 30 years ago, then I don't see why I shouldn't be able to. Although generally you would try to clean it up, but in this case, I'm just going to leave it because it's not going to do anything. All right, so let's clean this thing up because it is pretty dusty, as you can see. As simple as this thing is, it's always good just to clean up any electronic device that you get because dust is not good for heat dissipation. All right, so something else I noticed too is that the controller ports are also loose, so they need to be resoldered. Pretty common on Sega Genesis consoles on the Model 2s, but I guess this thing too, since there is no real bonding method here for the or anchoring method rather for the controller ports, it relies entirely on a solder joints, which is kind of stupid. So we'll just have to resolder those as well. And since these don't need to be, or I don't really need to use flux, I'm actually just going to go over them with a little bit of extra solder here just to kind of touch it up. The solder itself actually has flux in it, so. And I'm just going to go ahead and do each one. Okay, so that's that one. And now we're just going to resolder this one. Yep. So now I'm just kind of checking it over to make sure that there's no bridge solder joints in there. This one I'll redo that one. Not that it's shorting out, but there's too much solder on it. And then, good. Alright, so that's that. So after looking over the board, it turns out that the cartridge socket also needed to be resoldered besides the controller ports, so those were resoldered. So I actually had to go over the controller ports again, and if my damn camera will focus on something. So the controller ports, I needed to put flux on them because the solder I noticed wasn't really spreading around like the way I usually prefer it to, so I added some flux to those solder joints, and they pretty much cured exactly the way I like, which is kind of like a spear shape. And then the, like I said, the controller ports, the cartridge socket are resoldered, and it should be good now. So there's the board all nice and clean. I took all the dust off of it and everything, and cleaned out the cartridge socket. There was a fair bit of dust bunnies in there. The switches I cleaned up with tuner cleaner, just to basically lubricate them and flush out any dirt or anything that might be inside of them. Still have no idea what most of these do. This is for the RF switch, obviously. And then these are like your power, your reset, and all that. These two I got to figure out, but if it works, then I'll go through all that stuff and familiarize myself with the Atari knockoff system. Still kind of funny that Coleco made this thing. Alright, so getting these little like clasps or latches back in is a pain in the ass on the RF shielding. You gotta kind of pull them up and then in so that they fit back in correctly, and that's to hold this top RF shield on, because otherwise it'll rattle around inside of the console. So interesting design here. Alright, so we got the Coleco Gemini set up here. It cleaned up pretty well, actually. So I have some games to test out here. So Donkey Kong. This one's going to be interesting. I've never actually played this game before, so this one, I don't know, it's weird. We'll see how that one works. And then I have this one too. We'll see how this goes. So hopefully they all work on the first shot here. I've cleaned the crap out of everything. I got the TV all set up. Interestingly enough, these cartridges fit in backwards, which is weird. So these are Coleco cartridges. I don't know why they would make them fit in backwards so you don't see the label, but so cool. First shot, huh? So Mario seems to work. Which one's controller port 1? So let's see. There we go. So that's... Can I play this one-handed? I might be able to because it's so... It's weird playing this without me. Oh boy. Okay, well that's not gonna... This is so simple. This is way too simple for my liking. I'm using this through RF right now. Oh boy. Yeah, this is not gonna happen. Okay, so that works. It's actually kind of neat though too, how it just kind of... The cartridge sockets on these things are so similar between the Coleco and the Atari. Bear in mind, I know nothing about either system because I don't really collect for these at all. But the only differences that I can see is just that Atari has covers for their cartridges to keep the pins from getting dirty, and Coleco doesn't. I guess these cartridges were for the Atari. Does it even say it on there? Blah, blah, blah. Something, something, something. Oh yeah, okay, for trading. Okay, so this was, I guess, released for the Atari 2600, I believe. So Donkey Kong works. So let's try one of these. So this is pretty neat, though, how this game works. So this is tanks, and I guess we can test out both controller ports here to see if they work. Oh, I guess I have to select the stage first, right? Game select. I guess that's why it's doing that. Or not. Oh, okay, so this is going through all the games. Oh, so this is like airplanes or something. Is this working? I don't even know. Oh, a reset maybe? Oh, here we go. Okay. The first plane seems to be working. Damn it. Killed you. Oh, these graphics, they kill me. Alright, so let's see if the other controller works. Oh, good. So the other one, I'm using the controller port 2 now. I wonder if I can shoot myself with this. Oh my god. So this was video gaming back in the way back, huh? I can kind of see why they had a console crash or whatever the hell they call it back then. Although I guess given the technology, this is probably like all they could do. But the quality of the games are just, they're not so good. At least that's my opinion. Okay, so both controller ports seem to work. Let's see what tank's all about. So it's kind of neat that it has all the controls on a console to kind of flip through all the different games. This is what jets, I guess, right? Or something. I just hit reset, I guess, to make jets work. Oh, there we go. Pretty much like planes or whatever the hell that was, except with jets now and no background. This is terrible. Oh my god. So at least it's neat. You can play this with one hand. No boy. Can I do kamikaze? Ugh. Nope. Die, other teammate. Alright, so that's that. Yeah, the entertainment value here isn't really there with me. Okay, so let's try this game here. So this one is the only game with a cool label, I guess, a newer-ish looking label. This looks way too damn clean to be from the Atari era. But I guess this is... Did they make repros for the Atari? I have no idea. So we're going to try Custer's Revenge. You got a little naked Indian dude on there, so that's kind of whatever. Let's see what this is about. Interesting. So this is a porno game there. Okay. Alright, we're gonna try and play this. I guess he really wants to bone that Native American chick there, huh? Oh boy. This game would not be oh boy. This game would not be able to be made today, I'll tell you what. Oop, oh boy, I died before I could bang her. This is ridiculous. I don't even know what these arrows are, because, like, they... This is hilarious. Am I getting points right now? Oh, I died. Okay, so that was it for the Coleco Gemini with its perverted fucking Indian game here. Look at her. Look at that. That's hilarious. Is she supposed to be tied to that pole, I guess, or something? And Look at this guy. All right, that's hilarious. All right, so I'm done with this now. Well, thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you learned something about fixing one of these games here and about this perverted ass game here. All right, take it easy. Thanks for watching.